Hey, good afternoon. Sixth graders, this is going to be a ceramic project for you, and we're going to concentrate on making a type of ceramic form called a coil. And we're going to lay our coils inside of this bowl, and the bowl will help to give the coil pot that you're making a shape, okay? And the clay will dry inside the bowl. As the clay dries inside the bowl, it will shrink, pull away from the sides of the bowl, and that way we can get your clay piece out, okay? Now I'm working on a piece of canvas. I have some clay here that's pretty damp. There's quite a bit of moisture in the clay. And I think for this project, that's kind of necessary. I'll explain why later. You may need a little water, you may not. And you probably want to have a little modeling tool. One of these blue-green ones that has a bit of an edge on it is kind of nice in case we have to do some scoring or some smoothing, okay? This is a nice edge right here. This is also a nice edge, very small, very rounded, can substitute for a very small finger if you needed to work into a really tight spot. So I'm going to start hand building from the bottom and work my way out. You don't have to come all the way to the top of the bowl. You can if you want to, but that's not a requirement. Anywhere, say halfway up to all the way up is fine with me. Now remember what you're going to concentrate on making are coils. So I'm going to start out with a coil. Just pinch off a small amount of clay, and the first thing you want to do, getting a sense of how much moisture, how much water is in the clay, just roll a ball out of that. And I got a sense just rolling that, handling that, there's quite a bit of moisture in that clay. Now for me to roll a coil, well, I'm going to show you what a coil is, and I'm going to explain the process. I oftentimes use the fatty part of my hand, the ball of my hand, maybe the heel of my hand. I very rarely, when I roll a coil, very rarely will I use my fingers, but sometimes you may see me use my fingers. What I'm doing, and you can't really see it because my hand is in the way, I'm rolling back and forth. I can't even see the coil forming. Let me take my hand away. I can't even see the coil forming. So you know what I have to depend on? Guess what? I have to depend on my sense of touch. So what I'm doing right now, believe it or not, I've closed my eyes. I'm focusing on just my sense of touch to know that this coil is being formed properly. So remember, you have this God-given sense of touch, and it's very sensitive. You can really tell minor differences in the surface just by touching it. So therefore, you also might want to try with your eyes closed doing this with the ball and in some ways the heel of your hand. Now let me take my hand away and look. It's not bad. I see it's a little bit fatter there, a little bit fatter there. I am going to go in and do a little extra pressure there, a little extra pressure there. That's a coil, and it's not much thinner than my finger, so use your pinky as your guide. Okay, nothing bigger than your pinky. Let's just put it that way. Your pinky is plenty big for your coil, so let's stay pinky-sized or smaller, but maybe not too much smaller. Now remember, I said the clay had a lot of moisture in it, and that's good right now. Rolling the clay, we have been removing moisture from this piece of clay. The moisture has been absorbed, some of it, into this dry fabric, this canvas right here. Also, the moisture has begun to evaporate into the air around the clay. So the clay, as we work with it, loses moisture. Just the action of moving the clay creates friction, which generates heat, and heat, of course, you know what that does? It dries off moisture. So having started with some damp clay, it's okay as you work with it to understand that we're going to lose moisture and the clay will become less and less workable, less pliable, less plastic as you go. I pick the clay up, I feel that it's kind of cool to the touch. Another indicator that there is moisture leaving the clay. There's evaporation going on. Now what I just did looks like a cinnamon roll. I just rolled that coil into like a snail shell. I'm just put that on the bottom. That's going to be the bottom of my piece. There's a little hole there. We'll fill that in later. Let's do another coil. We will be rolling some balls out later to fill in some of those holes, and we'll have some time exploring the possibilities of what to do with these coils in just a moment. What if I make a coil And again, I can't really see, can I, what I'm doing, but I can feel what I'm doing. I can feel that I'm tapering the coil, making it skinnier to one end and fatter to the other. So that looks like a carrot, doesn't it? So I might decide that that's an interesting form. It's different from the earlier coil, isn't it? This coil tapers or gets smaller. It's an interesting form, and maybe I'll, instead of rolling it, want to do this with it. Wrap it around kind of like the letter S, and I'm going to put it in next to the other one. Now it's okay just to give it a little pressure so it sticks up to the sides there of the bowl, but not a lot of pressure. I don't think we want a lot of pressure on this because we want to be able to see the design of the coils from the outside of the bowl. The inside we may lose some of our detailing because we are going to have to weld and smooth together our coils from the inside. The outside, however, we don't want to press too hard on our clay, our very soft clay, so we don't lose some of that attractive coil pattern from the outside. Now, I'm talking, I'm working at the same time. I'm able to do that. I've done it so often that it comes automatically. My hands, my brain, my arm kind of know what to do. In your case, you'll have to concentrate more. You cannot yammer on like I'm doing and expect good results. Again, I'm just having fun with the way this feeds around. Okay, not necessarily did I expect that, but I kind of like it. I like that folding over like that. Maybe I'll put that there. Now you can, if you notice what I didn't just put the coil next to these earlier two coils, I put the coil on top of them, so that's okay too, with a little gentle pressure. Now, normally when we attach pieces together, we slip and score. We could do that now. That would guarantee that the pieces would likely stay together better, but I'm going to do a little scoring later on and a little smoothing on the interior. You'll see how that goes in just a little bit. Let's say I want to fill in some of these holes a little bit, so let's make another basic form, really the form we always depend on starting out, and that would be just a little ball, a little sphere. And you can make those little tiny guys right here in the palm of your hand. Take your pointer finger or your middle finger, whatever works, and roll that around in the middle of your palm, and you can make a little bead like that, okay? Optionally, you could take a bigger piece and roll it like this between both palms. You also could take a small piece like this, and I'm going to put it against the canvas, roll it here on the canvas with my pointer finger in this case to make an even smaller bead or ball. So this rolling action can take place on the canvas with a pointer finger in the middle of one palm or between two palms, okay? So what if I take this, or maybe this, and I just put it in there to fill in that little gap and give it a little press. Maybe this one in the middle of that one, give it a little press. Okay, that little bit of pressure here. You know, you see where these come together? There might be a gap, give that a little press. These might be good for helping to weld things together, making them stick better together. So I'm gonna go here and give that a little press. It could be later on, I might want to do some of this. Just a little bit of scoring, bringing those pieces together there. It's not going to hurt to do this. Make yourself a little ball. Because the clay is so damp, so moist, I don't think we really need to use any water. Give a little press there where you have some scoring. Give a little press there where you have some scoring. The pressure I'm applying is not a great amount of pressure, okay? It's getting kind of an interesting look on the inside, but hopefully enough so all of this very damp clay will hold together when I'm done. So I would just keep doing this and doing this and doing this until it was all built up. I think I probably will go ahead and continue to do more scoring. Remember the basis of this hand-built piece, this coil pot, are your coils. A coil is a long cylinder, kind of skinny cylinder of clay. Yeah, usually it's even, uniform, sometimes it isn't. What if I lay this one, here, you can remember, you can do it on top if you want, right along there, like that. Give it a little press down, okay? I might want to do just a little welding there to get those pieces welded together. I can always put a little bead of clay on top. We'll also glaze these later on, and that will help to weld or hold them together. See, there's my little ball. Press it into that. That might help to hold. It's looking kind of cool on the inside, very textured, and it will also look pretty cool on the outside as well. Here's another patch of scored area. push that there like a little button holding things together. So it's kind of beautiful from the inside. I hope it's just as beautiful from the outside. I don't yet have a dry bowl to show you, but we're going to let this one dry overnight. So when you do come back in tomorrow, first day of class after the winter break, you'll see how this has evolved and how I will then have started to dry it. We will fire this after it's dry. You will then glaze it and fire it one more time, glaze firing, and then you will take it home after that, okay? Now, you try.